Welcome to the Self Revolution podcast. This is your weekly reminder to wake up to who the fuck you really are. I'm your host, Breanna Rae Blaney, and it is truly my honor to guide you on this journey of self-revolution and evolution. Join me as one by one, we collectively wake up to create a more harmonious, enlightened, and fulfilled world. Welcome back to the Self Revolution podcast. Today, we're talking about energy management. Everyone's out there talking about time management, about wealth management, but let me tell you, energy is the real secret sauce. My number one priority in my business right now is energy management, is to manage my own energy. I genuinely feel like if I manage my own energy and I'm able to cultivate more energy and just expand my capacity, then everything else will flow from there. And that has not always been the case. I have been in severe states of energy depletion before. I have been incredibly burnt out and stressed. And I know what it feels like to feel out of control with your energy. So today we are going to dive into Energy Management 101, what it is, what it means, and how you can ultimately cultivate more energy and aliveness in your day to day, because who doesn't want more energy, right? So let's start with just this entire concept of energy. It's fascinating that actually in Ayurveda, the science of life, energy management is one of the 3 pillars of health. It's called brahmacharya, the right use of your energy. And when I learned this, when I was studying Ayurveda, it really was this big light bulb moment for me, because I had that sense that energy management was just a huge thing that I was focused on, and that there's a wealth of science out there for thousands and thousands of years all around energy management and the right use of your energy and the importance of it in your own health and vitality as a human being. So step 1 is to recognize that energy is a real thing. I think that energy has often been put sometimes in the woo-woo category, but the truth is energy is very, very real. When you think about physics and the mechanics of how our bodies work and how our cells function, I mean, energy is at the core. Everything is ultimately energy. And so energy management is incredibly important. And it's something that, yes, we might not be able to tangibly feel like a physical dollar or being able to look at a clock and see what time it is. But energy is something that we can absolutely all feel. I know that you've been in situations where you feel high energy and where you're in situations where you feel really low energy. And that is something that you have to begin to be able to work with and to be able to understand and to be able to manage your energy, so that instead of going on these massive yo-yos, almost like a yo-yo diet where you're, on one extreme here and another extreme here, that you're able to balance out your own energy so that you're not experiencing these massive highs and these massive lows, but instead you're being able to move through life in a much more easeful manner. Step 2 is to recognize your own energetic capacity. And from a biological level, this goes back to your mitochondria, the powerhouse of your cells. Each of us has our own capacity in terms of the energy that we have on any given day. If you push past that, then you're going to start depleting your energy, just like a bank account. And if you do things that are contributing, positively to your energy, you're going to be able to have more in that bank account as well. So while we have this energetic baseline, you have an energetic baseline right now, you can do things to expand it and to contract it. And that's where this whole concept of energy management really comes in, and cultivating good energy and doing things that allow your body to have more vitality so that you have more energy to do the things that you want to do on a day-to-day basis. So before we get too scientific or get into some of the things that you can tangibly do, step 3 is to just take an energy inventory. To take one day to notice throughout the day, what are the things that you're doing that are expanding your energy and your capacity versus what's depleting it. And I think it's important to do this first because we are all unique individuals. Some of the things that give me energy are likely to deplete your energy and vice versa. Yes, there are some things that are kind of standard around us as human beings, but there's also a lot of nuance to this. For instance, I receive a lot of energy from being alone and being in stillness and silence. And if you go into the introvert and extrovert psychology, there's a lot of science around that as well. But I personally, when I am feeling depleted, I want to be alone in a state of stillness and silence, and that gives me a lot of energy. You might find that when you're in big groups of people that you gain a lot of energy from that. You're able to really feed off that energy, and that's something that is energizing to you, more of an extrovert. And there's other things, like different things as well. Like I might find a lot of pleasure and renewed energy and reading a book. Maybe there's other things in your life that really fill up your cup. So this energy inventory is really the step is around you cultivating more awareness around the things that give you energy versus the things that deplete your energy. And when you start to cultivate this awareness, you can start to notice what those things are. I know when I did this, it became very clear to me that when I have a lot of meetings back to back and I'm giving a lot outwards, that is incredibly depleting for me. And so I really have to find ways to manage my energy even between meetings with people so that I don't get too depleted and kind of get into that negative or almost debt state of my own energy. So when we become more conscious of the things that are giving us energy versus depleting it, then it allows us to manage our own capacity better so that we're not getting in these really depleted states where we're ultimately burned out. And you have a little light bulb antenna that's able to say, hey, I'm kind of getting close to this state of hitting my own energetic capacity. So I need to pause before I push myself too far and fill myself back up. And this, for me, has been incredibly supportive also around travel and travel management. I travel a lot for my work and also for personal pleasure. And it can be really depleting to travel. And this whole energy management tool has been hugely helpful in me not getting sick from traveling and being able to really notice when I'm getting close to that line of crossing my own energetic capacity and taking a step back to fill back up my cup before I get pushed to that state of burnout and anxiety and really deep stress and ultimately, get sick and have ripple impacts from there. More on the scientific side, there are a number of things that you can do to expand your capacity. And a lot of this comes back to daily routine and doing things and structuring your day in ways that are aligned with the natural rhythm and natural harmony of the world around you. And I mean, the number one thing or one of the greatest sources of energy in our daily lives is the food that we consume, right? We are getting energy from the food that we eat. And so you can start to think about the food that you are consuming and putting in your body as this energetic source. And I often ask myself the question of do I want to take on the energetic quality of the food that I am putting in my body? When I look at a really fresh, ripe strawberry and look at the energy of that thing, oftentimes that's something that feels really good to my body. The freshness, the ripeness, the juiciness, all of that strawberry has the energetic characteristics that I want to consume. Whereas maybe a cheese pizza or something that's really heavy, often that does not have the energetic capacity that I personally want to consume. And again, this is unique. Sometimes that cheese pizza might be the energetic thing that you need in that moment. So I'm not demonizing that at all. I'm more just saying that it is a question that you can begin to ask yourself when you think about the food that you're consuming that is affecting your body, again, down to the cellular level. And depending on the different types of food you are eating, when you eat good energy, and if you've seen Casey Means' book on that as well, she's got a lot more information that you can dive into around the science behind this, that food is expanding your capacity when you eat more food that is supportive for your body and gives you more energy. On the flip side of the coin, stress is a huge depleter of energy. So one of the greatest things that you can do to expand your capacity is to put in stress management tools that allow you to manage your own stress, because stress is, again, a very energetic thing, right? When you feel stressed, what happens to your body? It starts to contract and get small, and you feel that, pumping of your heart, and all of those things are affecting your energetic state. And so simple practices like taking a deep breath, writing in your journal, what am I letting go, or what do I feel stressed about? All of those tools around just nervous system regulation help you manage your energy. And so what I sometimes will do when I've had a long day of meetings is, step outside and take a few deep breaths with my feet on the earth. That's one of my key practices that helps me reset and reattune my energy and take a bigger perspective on what's going on. Again, like I mentioned, staying in silence and stillness for me is another huge one that helps me reset my energy. The third thing I'll mention is meditation. And I've talked about this a lot, but meditation for me has been one of the primary practices that has allowed me to manage my own energy and expand my own capacity. Even the practice of meditation, when you are really in this deep state of being with yourself, it allows your nervous system to really expand, to be in this state of stillness and of ease, but really to feel your own energy. And I was actually meditating on this morning, and just thinking about this concept that meditation isn't really about being in a place of stillness. Yes, your physical body may be in a state of stillness, although you can, meditate and walk and meditate and move, be in a meditative state. But really, we're constantly moving. Even when you are meditating and you are in this state of kind of oneness with consciousness, consciousness is moving. Everything is moving. Everything is pulsating. Nothing is static. And so even when you're meditating, you are really in this state of being with this broader energetic field of consciousness itself. And when you're in that state, you're able to kind of play with with these different sensations of being able to expand your own energetic capacity. So more on that at another time, but meditation can be such a powerful tool to learn and feel your own energy, and again, cultivate more discernment around some of these practices that may be expanding, or things in your life that may be expanding your energy versus what is contracting it. So once you do this audit in your own life, I hope that it will begin to bring some more awareness to some of the things that might be draining your energy. And I invite you to get really minute around this. Really think about all of the little decisions and choices that you're making and how they're affecting your energy. I know for me, one of the biggest things that drains my energy is if I get anywhere near my phone in the first 2 hours of waking up, because it is such a drainer of energy. It starts kind of getting into my field before I've had time to really get clear on who I am and where I want to be and how I want to start my day. When I started sleeping, away from my phone and not touching that in the morning, it completely shifted my energetic state. Because if you grab your phone first thing in the morning and you start consuming all of this energy, you just check for yourself in your own life. Notice again what happens? Do you feel more energized after it, or do you feel less energized after it? Even your alarm clock, I mean, that can be such a small thing really early in the morning that can be really triggering to your energetic state. Are you waking up in a state that feels easeful and expanding for your own energy? Or is it something that feels really contracting? I didn't have my kind of typical, I use a hatch in the morning when I was in Joshua Tree the other week. And so I just had my phone and didn't change the sound on it. And oh my God, like the blaring alarm was so stimulating to my nervous system early in the morning and so jarring. It just was like an immediate drain of energy. So that's my invitation. Step 1, recognize that energy is real or don't. I mean, it's up to you. But really sit with this concept that energy is everywhere and everything. Step number 2, begin to recognize your own energetic capacity. How much energy do you have in a day? And start to play with these different tools around how you can expand your capacity. And then number 3 is to do an energy audit and start to look at all of these little things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis and recognize what is giving you energy, what's adding to that bank versus what is depleting it. And think about how you can start to smooth out that ride by putting in more of these energy management tools, doing some of the things we mentioned around food and daily routine practices. And again, just start seeing how that begins to shift your day-to-day experience. So with that, I hope you have a great day. Namaste.